How to activate multi-merchant on your terminal. Ingenico terminals support up to 8 multi-merchants. To activate multi-merchants on the terminal, first press Function. Then key in 7418 followed by the Enter key. Then the terminal will display multi-merchant setup on the screen. Press 3 to set active merchants. To activate 2 merchants on the terminal, at Active Merchant screen, key in 1 and 2, which represents each individual merchant, followed by the Enter key. Press Enter to return to the Paymark EFTPOS screen. How to manually set up multi-merchant name. Note, if the merchant name is not set, then the terminal will automatically use the names that are on the Paymark receipt header. First press Function. Then key in 7418 followed by the Enter key. Then the terminal will display multi-merchant setup on the screen. Press 4 to set merchant name. Use the numerical keypad and then press the Func key to access the alpha characters to key in the merchant name. Once merchant 1 name is entered, for example, Tom, press Enter to advance to the next merchant name. And then key in merchant 2 name, for example, Ken. Note, if the merchant name is not set, then the terminal will automatically use the names that are on the Paymark receipt header as default. Once finished, press Enter to return to the Paymark EFTPOS screen. EFTPOS configuration for multi-merchant. For a multi-merchant terminal, each merchant has its own configuration. Start by first pressing the Function key. Then key in 3824 followed by the Enter key. When Config Parameters is displayed, press Enter to proceed with the configuration. Press 1 to select your configured merchant name. Then key in the terminal ID followed by the Enter key. At this stage, the merchant ID will be populated by itself. Press Enter. Then the Network International Identifier will be displayed as 001. Press Enter. Then by default, 3 TCP IP is displayed. Press 4 for GPRS, followed by the Enter key. Then by default, option 1 Paymark is selected. Press 5 to select Spark, followed by the Enter key, or any other providers you may use. Once the GPRS screen is displayed, if there's a GPRS username, key it in or press Enter to skip. By default, the GPRS primary host port number is set to 33876. Press Enter. Then again by default, the GPRS secondary host port number is set to 33876. Press Enter. Then again by default, 1 Yes is selected to use DNS. Press Enter. Then again by default, GPRS primary host DNS is set to direct.paymark.co.nz. Press Enter. Then again by default, GPRS secondary host DNS is set to direct2.paymark.co.nz. Press Enter. When the Save Config screen is displayed, press Enter to save the configuration. Once config is saved, press Enter again to copy the configured details to all active merchants. At this stage, Start GPRS YN is displayed on the screen. To start the GPRS link, press Enter. The terminal will take a few seconds to start the GPRS. Then, to configure another merchant, YN will be displayed on the screen. Press Enter to configure the second merchant. Press 2 to select your configured merchant name, or your selected merchant name, which is displayed. Then key in the terminal ID followed by the Enter key. At this stage, merchant ID will be populated by itself. Press Enter. Then the Network International Identifier will be displayed as 001. Press Enter. As copy config to all merchants was performed, these fields will be pre-populated. 4. GPRS will be displayed. Press Enter to proceed. 5 Spark will be displayed. Press Enter. Press Enter when the GPRS username is displayed. By default, the GPRS primary host port number is set to 33876. Press Enter. Then again, by default, the GPRS secondary host port number is set to 33876. Press Enter. Then again, by default, One Yes is selected to use DNS. Press Enter. Then again, by default, GPRS primary host DNS is set to direct.paymark.co.nz. Press Enter. Then again, by default, GPRS secondary host DNS is set to direct2.paymark.co.nz. Press Enter. When the Save Config screen is displayed, press Enter to save the configuration. When Copy Config to all merchant YN is displayed and there are no more merchants to configure, press Clear to proceed. When Config another merchant YN is displayed, press Clear to return to the Paymark EFTPOS screen. Master Memory Reset. This will reset the configuration of the entire active merchants on the terminal to factory default. First, press Function. Then key in 7418 followed by the Enter key. Then the terminal will display multi-merchant setup on the screen. Press 8 to delete the terminal configuration. At Delete Config screen, press Enter to delete the terminal configuration of the entire active merchants. Then at Are You Sure screen, press Enter to proceed with deleting the entire active merchants terminal configuration list. The terminal will take a few seconds to reset the configuration details of active merchants to factory default. Press Enter to return to the Paymark EFTPOS screen. To deactivate multi-merchant configuration. This function allows the merchant to deactivate multi-merchants on the terminal if not required. First, press Function. Then key in 7418 followed by the Enter key. Then the terminal will display multi-merchant setup on the screen. Press 3 to deactivate active merchants. To deactivate Merchant 2 from the active Merchant 1 and 2, press 1 to make Merchant 1 active, followed by the Enter key, and this will deactivate Merchant 2. Press Enter to return to the Paymark EFTPOS screen.